Texas football orange and white spring game presented by Texas One Fund. Today we get our first look at the new look Longhorns here from DKR Texas Memorial Stadium in Austin. The fans are out on a beautiful day here to take this one in. Alongside Robert Griffin III, I'm Alex Loeb at RG3. You played in a number of these spring games. From a player's perspective, how do you approach a game like this? What's the mindset?
Oh, well, the mindset is to come out and put a show on for the fans. When you think about spring games, understand that this is what coaches do not want to do. They want these guys to be healthy. They want to get ready for the fall. But the fans have to get the excitement of these guys coming out and watching some of their favorite players, whether it be Quinn Ewers or a guy like Arch Manning.
You mentioned Quinn Ewers. Let's start with him first. Coaches say he looks different not only physically, new haircut, but also in practice, spring practice. They have been raving about his improvements.
Yes, he does look different. The mullet is gone, and he's also in shape. This guy looks like a completely different person. When you look at him last year, there's the muggy beard, you see the mullet, and early in the season, he was playing lights-out football. But as the year went on, some inconsistencies started to creep up in his game, in his footwork, in his decision-making. You see this game here against Alabama, before he got injured, they were on fire. But when they came into the spring, this guy has looked like a completely different player. Decision-making is better. You see that completion percentage there last year of 58%. They want that to climb dramatically, and he's putting in the work right now to make it happen.
Absolutely. As for one of the new faces, Arch Manning has arrived, officially arrived on campus 3 months ago. We know the spotlight is going to be on him today.
Yeah, the #1 quarterback in the 2023 class. When he comes in, that's going to make everybody raise their level of play, and we've seen that with Quinn. But Arch doesn't just bring to the table his last name. He brings an incredible arsenal of playmaking ability. It's not just his arm. Look at this throw. I want somebody show me a clip of Peyton Manning making that throw back across his body. He's got the deep ball in his bag. You see the consistency from him. He works like a pro, and he's come here really to take the starting job from Quinn Ewers, but that's going to be a very difficult task. But he's doing everything he possibly can to put his best foot forward.
Shattered the high school records of his uncles for passing yards and touchdowns. But he's not the only QB we're keeping an eye on today. Let's not forget about Maalik Murphy, who himself came out of high school a highly touted QB.
Yes, this is the most talented quarterback room of arm talent Texas has ever had on campus. Maalik Murphy, you see him there with the dreads. Sark told us this week he has the best arm on the team. Yes, that's right, people, the best arm on the team. So let me flash back to high school. Look at this big 6'5" guy throwing laser beams out there. He broke his foot coming out of high school, and he hasn't been quite healthy here in Austin yet, but now he is, and he's putting on a show in spring practices from what I've heard. They're very excited about what he brings to the table, and when you have this much talent in your quarterback room, guys, it elevates the level of the entire team. Watch for him today.
And the key, like you said, everybody is healthy. Kickoff right around the corner as Texas gets ready to cap off the spring. Coming up, we'll also preview the new look running back room as the Longhorns get ready to enter the post-Bijan Robinson era. Take a look at the new faces in the running back room, some of the familiar ones as well. Great atmosphere today, great weather. Don't go anywhere. The Texas spring game coming up. And the 2023 spring game is underway. They will start off at the 30-yard line after this return. Jaden Blue. And here we go. Quinn Ewers, as we said, new haircut, new everything. Steve Sarkisian told us this week that of their 14 spring practices, he looked absolutely fantastic in 12 of those.
Yeah, and he said that Quinn is on a different level than the other quarterbacks right now because he's been here for a year. He's been in the system, and he has that game-playing experience. When you talk to offensive coordinator Kyle Flood, his main point was you go from, hey, what is my job, to how do I do my job, and Quinn has been amazing this spring with his decision-making.
Jaden Blue beside him in the backfield, the sophomore out of Houston. 15 carries last year for 33 yards. Ewers to his left. That one off the fingertips of Ja'Tavion Sanders, who set a Texas tight end record last year with 54 catches on the season, and they say he looks even better this spring.
Yeah, they're saying that he's a better player now than he was at the end of last year. And if that's the case, this guy might be the best tight end in the entire country.
Just unreal numbers last year for the Mackey semifinalist. It was Baron Sorrell, by the way, with the pressure. Worthy in motion. And they go to the new #1, switched his jersey in the offseason. Sark revealed after the year came to an end that he was dealing with a broken hand pretty much for the second half of last season. But now healthy, new number, ready to go.
Yeah, I love how they've gone to their two best players. Ja'Tavion Sanders on the first play, Xavier Worthy on the second. Right there with the motion, we're able to get the defense to back off and give him some free space to go out and make a play.
It was a 2-yard loss after the Jaron Thompson tackle. Ewers quickly gets it out, and again in and out of the hands of Sanders. Ewers had to hurry that one.
Needless to say, that's not the start that they wanted.
How much can you judge the progression of a quarterback in spring practice, in a spring game?
Honestly, spring games, as we talked about in the intro, it's about putting on a show. So they've come out, they throw the ball 3 straight times, trying to get some of their better players involved. But Sark is really focused today on how are these players going to respond to the fans being here. And right now it seems like the offense is just a little sluggish. That's been a common theme for them this spring. The defense has been ahead of them.
It's Charlie Ferris with the punt. You bring up a great point, Sark, telling us, listen, the goals in this one, obviously clean football, no injuries, not many mistakes, but also he wants to see who are the gamers, which players get a little bit tight out there when you have fans watching in the stands, a little bit more pressure, and which ones maybe exceed their practice performances.
Yeah, and what he was really concerned or focused on was some of the young guys. They've got a lot of early enrollee freshmen coming in, but not guys like Ja'Tavion Sanders, Xavier Worthy, or Quinn. They felt the big-time atmospheres playing against an Alabama. If you want this spring game to go well, those guys have to show up and show those young guys this is how it's done.
Here is one of those young guys, Malik Murphy, finally healthy, missed the first 3 practices of the spring after having a setback with his foot. The handoff to new running back Savion Red, converted wide receiver. Jalen Ford was telling us this is a guy who runs extremely hard, very physical, tough guy to take down.
Yeah, you know, when I had a chance to call the 2 games last year against Baylor and Iowa State, Savion Red's name kept coming up. Hey, he's a Deebo Samuel type of guy, can play wide out, can run the ball, extremely aggressive. I'd like to see what he can do today as a true running back.
There he is again. Murphy dumps it off to him. It was interesting, Savion Red's name came up in conversation when we talked to Steve Sarkisian about positionless football. He spoke with Kyle Shanahan, head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, during the offseason, and they talked about positionless football. Versatile guys like Red, Jordan Whittington as well. Even mentioned Ja'Tavion Sanders, guys who can move all around the field like chess pieces and take advantage of mismatches.
Yeah, I know that guy, Kyle Shanahan. It's crazy.
Pretty familiar with him, eh?
Yeah.
3rd and 5, Malik Murphy. Over the middle, that one dropped. DeAndre Moore, the freshman, number 14 wide receiver, coming out of high school, 4-star out of Anaheim, California, couldn't hold on.
Yeah, nice job of Malik Murphy stepping up in the pocket, gives DeAndre Moore a more than catchable ball. But right now what we're seeing is some of the things that were talked about in the practices aren't really showing up in the game.
Right.
I heard for weeks upon weeks that DeAndre Moore catches everything that comes his way and really snatches the ball out of the air. Nice job by the DB there getting the ball out.
And coach wanted a clean game. Couple of drops early on, but that's all right. The fair catch made by Xavier Worthy. So again, you have Quinn Ewers and Malik Murphy, the starters. We will see Arch Manning a little bit later on. Ewers, you know, it's interesting when you look at how much football he's played in his career. It's not that much. Last year he played just over 9 games, 9 1/4. The year before that at Ohio State, he didn't throw a pass at all. And his junior season of high school, he only played 8 games due to a sports hernia. He just doesn't have a ton of experience behind it.
Yeah, and Sark is aware of that. They said we wanted him to not really have all those expectations that he had on him last year after he played so well early in that Alabama game. But hey, this is the price of doing business at the quarterback position in college football.
Here's the highly touted freshman running back C.J. Baxter trying to create some running room there. C4 explosive out of the backfield. ESPN's number 3 running back. Coming out of Orlando, Florida, it is tough to step into the shoes of not only Bijan, but Roschon as well. But he is the heavily hyped freshman taking over in the backfield.
Yeah, and I saw what you did there. C4 being explosive
that
out of the
is
backfield. Hey, man, that's right down my alley. I like that. I like that reference.
Trying to live up to it. 3-yard gain. Whittington open in the flat. Jordan Whittington, coaches say he is having an absolutely great spring. Decided to come back for a 5th year, coming off his first healthy season as a Longhorn last year.
Yeah, and for Jordan Whittington, you have to ask yourself, why did he come back? He came back because he's a believer in what the Longhorns are building, of course, but he also came back to prove a point. Maybe him moving into the slot and playing more there can do for him what it did for Devin Duvernay years ago, allow him to get more catches. And with those guys that they have on the outside now, man, Jordan Wilson's going to eat up the middle of the field.
Absolutely. Had 50 catches last year, more than his previous 3 seasons combined. That one hauled in by A.D. Mitchell, the transfer out of Georgia, tallest receiver on the team. Fans were really excited when he hit the portal and made his way to Austin.
Yeah, all 6'4" of them right there. You see him with the green jersey. A.D. Mitchell, man, this guy is a touchdown scoring machine. Feels like every time he caught a ball there at Georgia, especially in the college football playoffs, that he was putting 6 on the board.
Had the big go-ahead touchdown against Ohio State in that semifinal. There's the give up the middle to Baxter. Nearly 4,000 yards and 57 touchdowns for C.J. Baxter over his final 2 years of high school. Not bad numbers at all.
Yeah, you know, we talked about this earlier about C.J. Baxter and the transition from going from high school football to college. Linemen are bigger. The defensive linemen are bigger. Your vision is kind of thrown off because you're having to adjust to that. And maybe that's something that he is dealing with, but he certainly has the talent to be a special back.
Play action fake. Ewers just throws it away. If you're the coaching staff and Tashard Choice, the running backs coach, what are you saying to C.J. Baxter? A freshman's going to come out and press at times, maybe try a little bit too hard to do things. What do you do to take the pressure off knowing who was here before in the backfield, Bijan and Roschon, and let him focus on creating his own legacy?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Now, Tashard Choice, unbelievable coach, right? Gotten a chance to know him. He's done an amazing job making these backs all understand that we're in this together. But what he's telling CJ is, go be C.J. Baxter. Don't try to be Bijan Robinson.
On 3rd and 7, that one on the money and hauled in by A.D. Mitchell. Like you said, a big target. It was limited earlier this spring, coming off an ankle injury. Missed 9 games a season ago, but a couple grabs early wearing the non-contact jersey.
Yeah, and the thing I noticed most was just how easy that throw was for Quinn Ewers. Footwork was very clean. A.D. Mitchell threatened him vertical, sit it down, almost falls down, but I always tell my receivers, man, you better get up because I'm throwing that ball. I need you to catch it.
Even in the spring game, Ewers going deep down the field. Worthy hangs on and steps out of bounds inside the 10.
Oh, what a throw right there by Quinn Ewers. It's kind of funny because he put just the right amount of arch on the throw. You see him kind of shift over a little bit, throws it up for Xavier Worthy. And my man, you got the new number, but you got to stay in bounds. You got to stay in bounds to score right there.
Steve Sarkisian said, listen, that is an absolute focus this offseason. If we don't have the deep ball working, we're out of sync. Jaden Blue takes it down inside the 2 to the 1. That pass to Worthy was 46 yards.
46 yards. And you just saw how easy it was for Xavier Worthy to track that ball down the field. When I talked to Sark last year, that was one of the greatest things that he felt about Worthy was his ability to track it was second to none. Of course, he had a couple drops in the past couple of years that he needs to work on. But if he can do that consistently down the field, man, this offense is going to be explosive.
Lake still moving, and Jaden Blue stopped at the goal line. Maurice Blackwell, junior out of Arlington. Started 3 games a season ago, was in there. 3rd and goal coming up for the White Squad. C.J. Baxter back in the game, replacing Blue. Shove it right up the middle.
I mean, if you're trying to play bully football and this offensive line is now much more experienced, you probably should.
Baxter, one of the biggest freshman running backs in the nation, coming out of high school, trying to punch it in, stacked up. Jett Bush was there, and it'll be 4th and goal. Wow. Okay, defense stepping up.
Defense is stepping up. Talk about Jett Bush, number 43. Heard a lot of great things about him this spring. The way he just shimmied inside right there to get inside of the guard in the center, to hit the running back in the backfield before he could get his forward momentum going, awesome job.
Baxter again, and this time he's in. The freshman with the first score of the spring game for the White Squad.
So you're going to see C.J. Baxter get it, just go right downhill. Hey, safety shows up in the hole. I don't know if he closed his eyes or not, but I think he did. Listen, I think he did. C.J. Baxter's a big back, coming in at 215 pounds. And you know in a spring game, they're not going to kick a field goal in that situation. You got to trust your offensive line and the young freshman. Let them know that they were right.
Eyes open or closed, it worked. On for the extra point is Bert Auburn. And it's a 7-0 White Squad lead here early in the spring game. The big play. Well, hold on just a second. We have a penalty, much to Sark's dismay. It is declined. The big play, Quinn Ewers, 46 yards to Xavier Worthy. That set him up inside the 10. We'll be back in Austin from the Orange and White spring game.
Texas fans love seeing that. Touchdowns, baby. Keep them coming.
It's presented by Texas One Fun, maximizing positive community impact while helping Texas athletes succeed.
That last scoring drive, 11 plays, 80 yards, 5 minutes and 6 seconds. Quinn Ewers with the big throw to Worthy. And C.J. Baxter capping it off with the touchdown run. Worthy settling a little bit down. Ewers settling a little bit down there on that last drive. Hooking up with Worthy. I mean, every Texas fan knows this. That was his guy. He went to often targeted Worthy 114 times last year. 40 more targets than any other receiver on the team. Auburn kick. And the play blown dead. Savion Red will start off at the 30.
And you know, you talk about all those targets that he threw to Xavier Worthy. They just want to increase the percentage of those that are actually being caught, right? So now you look at that drive. If this was a real game, I would say, hey, great job by the coaching staff of going back to the running game. That's the bread and butter of this Texas offense. Allows them to hit those play action shots down the field.
Well, if you hear the buzz coming out of the crowd right now on the stadium, here he is, Arch Manning taking over, the highest rated quarterback ever to sign with a Big 12 school in the ESPN 300 era.
The crowd is loving it.
Looking to his left. And his first pass is complete. Thatcher Milton with the grab.
Yeah, when you break down that first throw right there from Arch, clean footwork in the pocket, knew where he wanted to go with the ball pre-snap because of the coverage. That's what you like to see from a young freshman.
We asked Steve Sarkisian this week. Obviously, we know the pressure on him, the spotlight on him. As he rolls to his right, that one batted away. Gavin Holmes was there getting a hand on it. He said, how do you somewhat protect him and keep him from paying attention to all the pressure, the intention? He said, listen, nobody is harder on Arch Manning than himself. He says that he's an extremely tough critic, and at times Sark has to kind of lighten things up to keep it loose out there for the freshman.
Exactly. Sark said he does not want Arch Manning to come to Texas and work college football. He wants him to play college football. Enjoy it, man.
Has to throw that one away. So 3 quick attempts for the freshman. 4th and 2, Texas will have to punt.
Honestly, from those last 2 throws, right? We saw the nice footwork, and he probably wish he had better ball placement on the first throw outside. Yep. But hey, you got the completion. That's all that matters. But on those last 2 throws, you saw what we don't necessarily see from a guy with Manning on the back of his jersey, and it's the mobility. That's something that Arch brings to the table is his ability to move outside of the pocket. I'm not saying he's Lamar Jackson, but he's not your stationary quarterback who's just going to stay in the pocket.
Your first spring game, how much, even though it's a spring games, an exhibition game, how much were the nerves flowing, the adrenaline going?
Oh, it's always going. You know, when you talk about how Arch approaches this, how his uncles approached it, because Eli and Peyton are his uncles, not his dad, right? His dad is Cooper Manning.
That's right.
Who's the older brother. So when you come to this, you're just trying to prove to everyone who's here that just stood up when he walked on the field that I'm that guy. Sometimes when you're a freshman, you have to understand that it's not about the outside noise. It's not about the people standing up. It's about you going out and doing your job and doing it to the best of your ability.
His uncle Eli Manning recently said, listen, Arch is way ahead of where I was coming out of high school as far as reading coverages and the mental aspect of the game. So back to the white squad. Quinn Ewers hooking up with Worthy again.
Beautiful play action, or as some people call these, the RPOs, right? Little fake to the back. Hey, you get the backer to come down, you fire in the play action slant right behind them. If Xavier Worthy can continue to develop his game all around as a wide receiver and not just hit the deep shots, this offense is going to open up, and his ability to climb up draft boards next season will as well.
Fastest Texas wide receiver to reach 100 career receptions. Flag on the play. And keep in mind, Texas, without their full complement of receivers in this one.
Snap infraction, number 65, offense, 5-yard penalty, still first down.
That one on Jake Majors. No Isaiah Nayor, who's still recovering from that torn ACL. Players like Casey Kane out as well. And A.D. Mitchell playing in this one, a couple of catches, still getting back into game shape.
Yeah, and the coaches are really excited about Isaiah Nayor.
He had a huge grab in the spring game a year ago, put up big numbers at Wyoming. Here's a Texas player leaping over.
You know, offensive coordinator Kyle Flood told us, you know, Isaiah Nayor, he's a proven commodity. Just imagine what that guy's going to bring to the table when you have him, A.D. Mitchell on the outside. You got Xavier Worthy taking the deep shots. You got Jordan Whittington manning the middle of the field. This Texas offense is set up to be one of the most explosive that we've seen from the Longhorns in quite some time.
Coming off a torn ACL, how healthy can we expect Nayor to be come September?
I think the fact that they're taking it slow with him right now is in his best interest. As you see Quinn just a little bit outside trying to throw that nonstop, or maybe even a back shoulder to Xavier Worthy. When we talk to the coaches about Nayor, it's the mental side. And being a guy that's been through 2 ACL reconstructions, that is the biggest key here. Now, I didn't have to run and stop and run routes and all that, but it's the mental side of knowing, am I okay? If I put my foot in the ground and turn upfield, am I going to be able to go celebrate in the end zone because I scored a touchdown and not be hurt again?
Final play of the first quarter, that one thrown into coverage. Dangerous play. Marshall Landwehr was there in the middle defensively. And that's the end of the first quarter in Austin. C.J. Baxter with the lone touchdown. White squad up 7-0 in the spring game. Welcome back to DKR Texas Memorial Stadium. Get ready for the beginning of the second quarter. Quinn Ewers 6 for 10 so far for the white squad. Arch Manning 1 for 3 for the orange team. Malik Murphy 1 for 2. And C.J. Baxter with the lone touchdown so far.
Probably not as much explosive offense as the crowd would like to see, and certainly not what Sark would like to see at this point. But that's a good sign for the defense, you can say. The defense is stepping up and shutting these guys down. But I know that last throw that we just had before the break from Quinn was more of a last-year decision type of throw. He's trusting his arm to make it and fire it in there, but he's got to be able to see the coverage.
Here's the toss from Malik Murphy to Jonte Cook, who's tied with Xavier Worthy as the highest-rated wide receiver signee ever to sign with Texas in the history of the ESPN 300 era. They said he's kind of like a thicker version of Xavier Worthy.
A thicker version of Xavier Worthy. Like Xavier Worthy's like, what, 160 pounds soaking wet?
Soaking wet.
So it's not that much harder to be thicker than Xavier Worthy, but Jonte Cook, you know, he's got some skills as well.
There's the dump off to Kai Woods, cuts back towards the middle, and finally brought down. David Bendo with the tackle, but a big gain by Woods, the sophomore out of League City.
Yeah, just a little rail route out the backfield, avoids the rush. Nice catch, and I love the finish. Don't run out of bounds. Don't put your foot in the ground and go back vertical. Kai Woods out there putting on for League City, Texas. We see you.
And a nice calm play by Malik Murphy. A dump off for 25 yards. As time, Murphy. That dart over to DeAndre Moore, you mentioned it at the beginning of the game. The coaching staff says Malik Murphy has the best arm on the team. They say at times he trusted a little too much, gets himself into trouble, but not there.
Yeah, the ballsmanship to fake out the defense, and then look at that dart he just threw to DeAndre Moore. I feel sorry for his hands, man. I know them things is on fire right now.
Here's the give up the middle. Woods evading defenders. Anthony Hill, talented freshman, finally brought him down. And how about Kai Woods? Didn't play last year, 3-time All-District in high school, making some plays here in the spring game.
Yeah, showing a little spark right there, making his guy right in the backfield there. Missed the block a little bit, set him up, helped him recover on the block, and then gets vertical for the yardage. You'd love to see that from a running back.
2nd and 4 from the Orange squad. Again, they go to Woods up the middle. And a short gain. Yet to see Jonathan Brooks yet. He's close to being 100%. Vernon Broughton in there on the tackle.
Yeah, you see those hands on the hip, right? You know, when the hands on the hip, when you dip, I dip, we dip. They're trying to get that defensive line tired out by running the ball constantly at them.
Woods again up the middle. Sark brought that up. He goes, listen, it's going to be one of the hottest days of the year so far. We want to see who's out of shape and who's ready to go.
And at the end of the day, this Texas Longhorn team on both sides of the ball, O-line and D-line, they got beef. These guys are big football players, and when it's hot out and you're on the field longer than you want to be on the field as a defensive player, it can get to you a little bit. I mean, my man Tavondre Sweat, he's out there, 355 pounds, and that's without eating breakfast. So you know they're huffing and puffing right now. 4th
and 1 here. Savion Red spinning off a number of defenders, fighting for yards. They're trying to push him forward. And it looks like he may have come up short. Shaking off a number of defensive players.
Yeah, Savion Red makes a guy missing the backfield. Spin move. That might be the most impressive no-yard gain we have seen of the day. Are they giving him the first?
They do.
Oh, wow. I think those refs were a little blinded by all those spin moves in the backfield. They got caught up in the excitement.
I mean, again, I couldn't get over Jalen Ford, one of the toughest defenders in the Big 12, saying this guy Red is no joke, talking about his physicality. He said he's a tough dude to tackle, tough to bring down, and he gives the Orange squad a first down. They go back to Red. Wrapped up by Sydir Mitchell.
You know, like we talked about in the open with Savion Red being a converted wide receiver. Well, in high school, he played quarterback, wide receiver, and running back. So when I talked about him being a Deebo Samuel type of player, Deebo Samuel is a physical runner with the football in his hands at wide receiver. It's why a lot of corners don't want to guard him, don't want to tackle him. So now for Savion Red to show the willingness to get in between the tackles and put his head down, you know, a phrase, not really putting his head down, but not be afraid of contact, that's a huge part of his game.
This time he cuts out wide to the near sidelines and brought down inside the 10. Playing quarterback his last year of high school, averaged about 9 yards a carry did Savion Red, over 1,300 yards and 20 rushing touchdowns, and now needs a breather. You brought it up, the heat.
He's not used to all those carries back to back to back to back. And also, as you said, the heat. It is hot out here. But in Texas, that's what we always expect.
And 6 catches last year did Red, no carries. Replaced in the backfield by Kai Woods. 3rd and 3. And they give it to the sophomore, brought down immediately by Sydir Mitchell, who's the highest rated out-of-state defensive line signee in the ESPN 300 era. A couple of tackles on this drive.
Now, I know everyone watching this game, they know this roster, they know these recruits, but it's a common theme. Highest rated this, highest rated that. But these guys are coming in and they're adding to a roster that's already extremely talented, and I think it's been quite some time since Texas football has felt that way. You're building depth with some of these signings, and these guys are going to be able to contribute come fall. I mean, I'm telling you, man, the Big 12 championship is clearly in the view of this football team.
Will Stone on for the field goal attempt, and it is good. So the Orange squad on the board with just over 9 to play in the first half here in Austin. Quinn Ewers coming off a great spring, 6 for 10 so far today, 82 yards and a big 46-yard completion to Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, and for the most part, he's kept the ball out of harm's way. He's made the simple plays. We saw the big shot down the field to Xavier Worthy right here, just putting a great arch on the football. Would love to see Worthy keep that one in bounds. And you see the RPO play-action slant. Maybe he could have put it a little farther in front of him, let him catch and run. But from so far, what we've seen from Quinn is he's making the simple plays. He's only had one throw that I say, hey, that was a last-year decision. I like the progress that he's making so far in this game.
Back out there for quarter number 2 for the white squad besides C.J. Baxter. Play action fake. Finds a cut in. A.D. Mitchell, 3 catches already for the Georgia transfer.
Yeah, it's clear that A.D. Mitchell is going to be a big part of this offense. What I love there that might go a little unnoticed is that Quinn, off of that play action fake, off of that RPO, got the ball out so quick, just showing off the arm angles that he can make easily without getting his feet set.
Baxter stopped right at the marker, and they said that's been the biggest difference. His progressions are quicker, less hesitation, less thinking, more just reacting and getting it done.
Yeah, when you see that blitz coming off the edge and you know, hey, I don't have anybody blocking that guy. I'm not just going to go through my ride of the running back and then set my feet and make the throw. You're actually playing the game now. You're not just trying to work through what coach told you to do earlier in the week.
3rd and 1, Sanders in motion. Baxter, great move, cutting to the inside and then finally brought down by Jet Bush. Picks up the first down and more.
I want you to guys watch Baxter ride the wave here. He rides the wave, then he bounces outside. Ooh, stick your foot in the ground, get vertical, make that guy have to tackle you. And I'm telling you right now, a lot of people don't want to tackle 210-pound C.J. Baxter.
Put the moves on the fellow freshman Malik Muhammad. 1st and 10, Ewers steps up in the pocket. And that would be scored as a sack if they were allowed to do that. Ethan Burke, who's caught the attention of the coaching staff this offseason with his length, the 6'6", 250-pound product out of Westlake.
Yeah, when we talked to Coach Pete Kwiatkowski, he had one word, or 2 words for Ethan Burke: looking good.
And showing it here, it's one thing to do it in practice, but pressuring Ewers there, forcing now 2nd and long for the white squad. The give up the middle again to C.J. Baxter. Jalen Ford with the stop. Jalen Ford, the AP All-American, said, listen, what led to the huge season a year ago? Was it something individual where you snubbed? He goes, listen, the biggest reason, he goes, I had a chip on my shoulder because we were coming off a 5-7 season. Everyone was counting us out, and he made it his mission to kind of carry that defense at times. A year ago, here's a throw to Jordan Whittington with a big gain on 3rd and long. Ford with the tackle.
Wow. It seems like a very simple thing, but it's drop back to pass. When Ewers gets his feet, he's in rhythm. He makes that throw. You see how easy that 20-yard down the field throw was right there? That's what we're talking about when we say the arm talent, but it's the ability to get there at the right time. He's doing it today.
Jaden Blue. And Sark's so good at finding open space for his receivers downfield.
And that's why receivers love playing in his system. But to get back to what you were talking about with Jalen Ford, talking to him last year and again this week, he's just a selfless guy. He's more focused on getting this program to the heights that it should be at, as opposed to getting himself to where he thinks he should be.
With some moves up the middle. He said, what are you working on coming off a great season like you had? He said, listen, being more of a leader. DeMarvion Overshown no longer there. Keandre Coburn gone, some of the leaders on the defensive side, and being more aggressive, which is a scary thought for opposing offenses.
Yeah, this guy, what did he have, 119 tackles last year? So you talk about being aggressive. he's out there trying to run that Ford truck over every single offensive player that he sees. But I'm just impressed with him. He told us something, that he wants to be like, he wants the guys on this team to feel like a Vince Young, right? When they come back to campus because of the great things that they did. Now, they're going to have to win a national championship to make that happen. It hasn't happened since 2005. But I think that if you aim for the stars, you shoot for the stars, you can land amongst the clouds, right? And I think that's what he's focused on. They want to do big things here at Texas, and he's doing it the right way.
And Ford, a huge part of that. Less than 5 to play in the first half. Blue with plenty of running room, sprinting through the defense. Oh, a number of defenders, and Jaden Blue is in for the touchdown. "31 yards for the sophomore out of Houston."
Look at this. Jaden Blue, little counter action, gets out into the open field. And what I love most is the foot speed. And then, oh, look at that. Made that man do the cha-cha in the middle. Oh, my goodness. Talk about Jaden Blue, more like Jaden Black and Blue, because he's beating up the defense.
Texas has got some speed in the backfield this year with Blue, Jonathan Brooks, Red, the converted receiver, T.J. Baxter as well. So the white squad now up by 10, and the extra point on the way.
Hey, man, we said there's some talent in that running back room, and we are seeing it right now.
Third Auburn. It's up and good. Hey, you mentioned it to me during the break. The fans are here to see big plays, and they saw one there.
Yes, you did. When you put 5 dogs in the backfield at running back, these guys are all going to come out and compete. So you see him get skinny, and then he's just not afraid to, oh, look at that. That looked like Reggie Bush on the sideline making defenders miss, and he's doing that in the middle of the field. I am very, very excited to see what this team is going to look like come fall.
Talented running back room trying to replace the duo of Bijan and Roschon that combined for more than 2,000 rushing yards a season ago, 87% of their rushing yards. Everybody talks about Bijan. Roschon's so tough between the tackles. But again, so far, Jaden Blue stepping up.
Yeah, Alex, Roschon would have started at most other schools in the Big 12.
Absolutely.
For sure. So for him to be the backup and the willingness to go out and play on special teams and to block for Bijan at times, it just shows you how selfless that he was. But when we talked to Sark this week, he said he's never not had a 1,000-yard rusher. Just to let everyone around the country know, hey, one of these guys is going to run for 1,000. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe 2 of them get close.
Saw Keelan Robinson sitting this one out on the sideline. Here's Arch Manning back in the game. Freshman stepping up in the pocket. You said he can move, and picks up a gain on the ground.
What I tell you, man, Arch Manning, it's not just the Manning on the back. His uncles and his dad know the game is evolving. As a quarterback, you have to be able to move. It's not that you have to be the most dynamic runner, but you have to be able to move up in the pocket and run when the defense is telling you that that's the move. Right there, Arch took what the defense gave him. Nice positive gain.
6-yard gain to be exact. He's 1 for 3 through the air so far. And the give to Kai Woods, flying through the defense. Brought down, a hard hit by Larry Turner-Gooden. These running backs starting to pick up yards in chunks.
Yeah, you got to stay dedicated to the running game, and the offensive line, I think we got to give them the credit that they deserve as well.
7-yard gain. Arch fires it out to his left, bobbled, and ultimately dropped by Kai Woods. But the throw is on the money.
Throw is on the money, so that's what you're looking for as a fan from Arch Manning. He
Going
finds
on
the
field
open
is an
guy
incomplete
and
pass.
hits him with it. But to get back to
Second down.
talking about this offensive line, last year, 3 freshmen playing on the line. Now they're much more experienced. They've had some guys go down in the spring, and that's allowed other guys to step up. And they're actually putting on a clinic of how you grind on a defense. Now, I don't know if you feel good about that, if you're looking at the defense giving up these rushing yards, but that offensive line is winning the battle right now.
Final 3.5 minutes of the first half. Arch under pressure, throws it away. And for these final few minutes, we're now joined by Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian. Coach, since Arch is out there, what do you make of the performance by the talented freshman so far?
Well, I thought it was good that, his first play was a pass. He threw a completion, kind of get the jitters out. I'm sure there's still some. I think this is just his only second series so far. So he's got a lot more series in his career to go. I thought he made a good decision on first down right there of tucking it and getting positive yards on first down. So these are always the challenging, right? The challenging ones, the third longs, trying to make good decisions, tough throws under duress.
As you talk about tough throws under duress, he has one right there. But what have you loved seeing from your running back group so far today? They seem to have accepted the challenge of trying to go out and show that they can be the feature guy in this offense.
Well, you know, what we're always looking for is, one, consistency. Are you running it where it's supposed to go? Two, can you create those explosive plays? And then ultimately, can you take care of the football? And so all three of those things, I think so far we're seeing. I think they're getting more comfortable, especially in the open field, making guys miss. And I think, you know, we've obviously got some depth on the offensive line, and they're blocking it pretty good right now.
Coach Quinn Ewers, so far 8 for 12, had the big pass to Worthy. What have you seen out of him today?
He just looks comfortable. You know, looks really under composed. The ball's going where it's supposed to go. What I love right now is that the ball's getting spread to a variety of receivers. You're seeing A.D. Mitchell, you're seeing Xavier Worthy, you saw Jordan Whittington on a big third down, and they, you know, the white team really hasn't gotten J.T. Sanders incorporated into the offense yet. So what I like, I think, about is offensively is going to be our versatility, guys that can do multiple things, and we can spread the ball around a little bit more.
Hey, Coach, on the lighter side, what are you telling Xavier Worthy on the sideline when he catches that deep shot and steps out of bounds when he could have scored a touchdown?
You know, I couldn't see it. I really, but my vantage point, being on the field, being behind the play, I couldn't tell. I was wondering, did he catch it inbounds? But if you're telling me he could have scored, I'm going to let him know.
He's holding on to everything, though, so far, Coach. And I know he dealt with the broken hand a season ago, but's got the new number and looks healthy out there today.
Kind of broke up on me right there. I lost you.
We were saying Xavier Worthy holding on to everything so far today. We know he was dealing with the broken hand a year ago, but looking healthy today.
I thought Xavier handled it extremely well a year ago, battling through it. And he's come back. He's had a really good spring. He's accepted the challenge of being that go-to guy. And I love what he's bringing to the offense right now.
Coach, talk to us a little bit about the focus on running the football. That's always been a bread and butter for you, but the offensive line seems much improved in trying to wear on this defensive line.
Ball to stop.
Sorry, got a little connection issue right now.
Can you hear me, Sark?
Now we're breaking up with Coach Sark, but we appreciate him joining us for a few minutes there.
I guess the play of the offensive line has Sark speechless right now.
I guess that's it. Either that or we got terrible reception going on. One or the other. But I wanted to ask him how hot it is down on the field. He was talking about seeing how the players handled the heat. Yep. The field level is much hotter than the regular temperature.
Yeah. It appears our communications are being fried on the field right now because it's so hot.
There you go. Quinn Ewers. The endless puns. I love it. Look at Jay Witt. Jordan Whittington finally dragged down by B.J. Allen.
Look at this right here. Just another nice job of Quinn Ewers dropping back very, very calm, throws it to his check down, and Jay Witt says, you better bring the whole defense when you try to tackle me. He is a man on a mission, and he don't care whether you're on his team or not.
He loves hitting. I mean, he lives for that. He said, is that one off target? He said, okay, be honest. How much do you actually want to play in this game? We know your injury history, managed to stay healthy last year. You want a quarter or something? He goes, are you kidding me? I want to play for as long as possible. I love football. Any chance I get to play in a game, I want to make the most of it.
And right there, you see the glimpses of him being a former high school running back. He runs with a purpose after he catches the football, and NFL offenses are looking for that more out of their wide receivers, guys that are going to be yak monsters, and Jordan Whittington is one of those.
Of course, had that huge state championship game, running for 334 yards with a huge performance. A minute and a half to play here in the first half. There's Jaden Blue back in there in the backfield for Texas. Blue with 7 carries for 49 yards and a touchdown.
See if they get J.T. Sanders involved here.
Ewers had a hold of his jersey. He can run at times and steps out of bounds. Looking like RG3 there? Is that a little much? Is that a little?
No, listen. Quinn Ewers, I love the pump fake. Listen, I used to do the pump fake when I was 5 yards down the field because sometimes defenders don't even know if you're past the line of scrimmage. So I like that right there. But I was laughing because I know defensive guys watching this are so upset.
Absolutely.
Because in a spring game, you're not really supposed to touch the quarterback. You're not supposed to get near them. So if he scrambles on 3rd and 8 in a situation like that, is he really getting out of that? I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. They've talked about all offseason. They want to improve on the sacks. They were 7th in the nation in quarterback pressures, but 71st in sacks. But Pete Kwiatkowski, the defensive coordinator, told us there's only so much you can do in practice. You can't touch the quarterback.
Yep.
You can't, at least you're not supposed to touch him in the spring game. So how much can you actually work on that in the offseason?
Yeah, it's one of those things of finishing on the quarterback. You have to visualize it, is what Coach Kwiatkowski told us. You know, visualizing like the water boy. You're going to go out there. You're going to make the tackle. You're going to keep your knees bent. You're going to break down in front of him. But more times than not, it doesn't really work out that way. So these defensive players have to go out there and actually try to finish on the quarterback without hurting him.
Worthy cutting back to the outside, outrunning Terrence Brooks, and finally, who says it's just a spring game?
Oh my goodness. I actually gave Xavier Worthy 2 pounds. Right here on our list, we got him at 164 pounds. But watch this. Little inside under route, sets him up, and then he says, hey man, I got power too. Worthy. Then he's going to talk some trash to him, too. He said, yeah, I might be little, but I pack a punch, baby.
27-yard gain. A little bit of trickery here for Texas. Worthy with the throw downfield. And Jaden Blue is just trying to duck it. Trying to duck, avoid getting hit. I mean, you can.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll let you break down that play.
I don't think. Wow. Jaden Blue said, for who? For what? I'm not trying to make this catch. Look at him. He's like, right. Oh, no. That's terrible.
I mean, it's just a spring game. You don't want to get hurt.
That's going to be on the footage after this game. Sark is going to be all up in Jaden Blue, making sure he understands that in that situation, you make the catch. You take one for the team.
I'm glad we don't have Sark mic'd up for that, because there might be words you can repeat on the air. Jordan Whittington with the first down. Final 60 seconds of the half. Is that okay, doing that in the spring game?
No, it's not. It's not.
Sark told us, listen, we want to be clean, no injuries.
Yeah, ask yourself if you're Jaden Blue. Is Savion Red making that catch? Is C.J. Baxter trying to make that catch? Is Kai Woods trying to make that catch? Is Jonathan Brooks trying to make that catch? Listen, you only get so many opportunities to go out and make a play. I understand, hey, you're going to get hit there, but at the end of the day, show your coach and your teammates that you're willing to make that catch, even in a spring game.
He heard the footsteps. Timeout here. 23 seconds to go in the first half. Hey, don't forget Texas softball coming up on LHN later today and Sunday. Lost the first game against Kansas, but they'll hit McCombs Field coming up at 4:30 today and wrap up the series tomorrow at noon. Number 8 Texas taking on Kansas later on at 4:30 following Texas game day final. Look who's in the house, Bijan Robinson.
Ooh! I wonder if he's going to bring us some of that mustard up here. He always got the sauce. I'm excited for this young man. You know, the running back position has kind of been devalued a little bit in the NFL. But when you're the second best player on Mel Kiper's board, there's no reason trying to get him. He might even go higher than that. But he's a special player and even more special person.
It's like the mayor of Austin. Handshakes, kissing babies, doing everything. C.J. Baxter in the backfield now next to Quinn Ewers. Quick throw out to Whittington. Brought down just inside the 15. Now, you bring up an interesting point, Bijan Robinson. Everybody agrees one of the most talented players coming out of college, but due to his position, does he go middle of the first round? Does he go later? They talk about, does he drop to the Cowboys? Does he even go top 10?
I really believe that Bijan Robinson is worthy of a top 5 draft pick. I certainly think he'll go inside of the top 10, but I'm not an NFL decision maker as we speak today. But when you look at this guy play, no one breaks more tackles. No one adds to your offense as much as he can in both the running game and the passing game. And it's why I said last year during one of the games that we called with Mark Jones and Quinn Kessenich that if I'm a guy like Bijan with the new NIL landscape, I'm trying to see if there's an opportunity for me to stay in college and make similar money to what I would as an NFL running back. We've already seen it in women's basketball where some of the women's basketball players are making more than the WNBA players. It's going to turn into a reality for these football players, and the schools can keep them in school for long.
Ewers over the middle, and that one hauled in by A.D. Mitchell. What a first half for the Georgia transfer.
Oh my goodness, guys, look at this. Quinn Ewers, super simple drop, makes a throw over the middle, and A.D. Mitchell says, why use two when I only need one? You talk about a touchdown scoring machine. This guy is showing flashes today. I know he's got the green jersey on, but catches like that is what gets you excited for college football season, and we're still months away.
He said he's the tallest wide receiver on the team at 6'4". 4 catches for 42 yards and a score in the first half for Mitchell. We didn't know if he was going to play. Dealt with the ankle injury earlier in the spring, but he's playing and balling out here in the first half.
I mean, watch this. The high point, didn't even need the other hand to help secure it. Then he had to look on his face on the sideline saying, I'm him. A.D. Mitchell putting on the show today for all of Longhorn Nation.
Welcome back to halftime here in Austin. Quinn Ewers' white squad leading the orange team 21-3. Well, earlier this spring, All-American linebacker Jaylan Ford had the chance to catch up with another legendary lifetime Longhorn, Derrick Johnson. The duo sat down to discuss Ford's season and much more.
Derrick Johnson chasing him, and the ball is punched down. It's loose. What can you say? Best defensive football player in the country. Oh, what a hit by Jaylan Ford. Picked up Jaylan Ford. Jaylan Ford is him.
Jaylan, what's up, my brother? It is always good to talk to a fellow linebacker, man. We talking ball today, so I'm real excited. The season last year, 2022, you were all over the field. What was your mindset and what were you trying to accomplish?
Going into a year, my goal was always wanted to be just like the guys in the back of this room, just leave a legacy. You know, I just had to take it upon myself to put in that work, not only on the field, but off the field in all aspects, and just ultimately just showed up on the field. You know, you keep stacking them up, and then you just look back on it, and it's just like, wow.
What I hear you saying is being able to function during chaos is big for linebackers. We're different from D linemen. We're different from, we don't put our hand in the dirt and lose focus, right? We got to actually set up everything and be that staple.
I say, especially the middle linebacker spot is just we run the ball all the time.
Yeah. You're the general of the defense. 41 is the staple of that defense. So when I look at the Longhorns defense, especially this past year, I'm looking at 41 because 41 is the Mike linebacker. That's the guy.
A lot of people understand the role of a linebacker truly on the defense. We have a lot of responsibility, and so I think that my position is it's kind of like the quarterback. You know, a lot of eyes on you. That's why you're able to make so many plays, especially if you have effort. You know.
Get the popcorn ready. Everybody get the popcorn ready.
Let's be honest, he's a guy. So you know, everybody knows Derrick Johnson. When we watch your film, we see effort. You're always making plays. Your passion for the game. Finding that switch kind of when it's game time, you know, to turn it on.
Somehow you got to be easily motivated. Whenever you step on the field, I don't care what day it is or how you feel, you got to be motivated to kick butt. You know what I mean? Really take it to somebody and take a lot of pride in that, knowing that when I go back and watch film, everybody in the world is about to see this film. Turning on that switch, and you do have that switch, by the way, to make sure that you send a message that I'm the baddest guy on the field. You got to take steps. You're here for a reason. You can't be the same. You can't be the same last year. We loved Jaylan last year. We need a better Jaylan. Your expectation for yourself needs to be higher than everybody else because you're going to hold yourself at the highest level possible. When you're playing here, you don't realize that you're going to have your name up.
And they are your awards.
I know. These are literally my awards. To have the best defensive player in the nation award and the best linebacker in the nation. So I won this coming back from my senior year, something that you are pursuing. You talk about legacy. What does this mean to you to look at this and say, hey, it's an opportunity, opportunity of a lifetime that you can make this happen?
If I'm able to get this, you know, looking back on it years from now, it'll still be there. That's what pushes me, is just wanting to be the best possible player I can be. And winning these awards kind of solidifies that. As far as legacy, just when people think about linebackers at University of Texas, they just mention me. In that room, seeing my picture in there, that would just put me at rest. If you want to leave your legacy, there's no better place to do it than here.
Lofty expectation, lofty legacy to live up to. Jaylan Ford Derek Johnson, the Waco product, RG.
Yes, I know all about Derek Johnson. Didn't get a chance to play against him in high school, don't get me wrong. But when you go to Baylor and you're playing against Waco High all the time in high school, this guy's name comes up all the time. For Jaylan Ford to even be mentioned in the same sentence as this guy lets you know how dynamic of a player he is, because both of them are certified beasts.
Jaylan Ford, 119 tackles a season ago. Second half on the way here, the Texas spring game. 21-3, white team. We'll be back. Here in Austin, we're just about to start the third quarter. Alex Loeb at RG3 here with you. Robert, when you take a look back at the first half, a couple of rushing touchdowns, one great grab through the air, A.D. Mitchell, what stood out to you?
Yeah, I felt like the offense started a little slow. Then we started getting some more big plays. The offensive line started really hunkering down. And then you're going to see nice play action pass. Quinn Ewers decided to go out and get sick with it. Xavier Worthy makes the catch. Wish he would have stayed in bounds, but still a great play. Then you got C.J. Baxter following that wave of offensive linemen who have been controlling the line all day. And then the run of the day right here by J. Don Blue. Look at this cut right here. Just call them Band-Aids, man, because he's making cuts nonstop. I absolutely love it. These types of plays, and then, of course, we've got the play of the day. The one-handed snag, the OBJ from A.D. Mitchell. Why use two hands when you only need one? These types of plays are what have Longhorn Nation excited about this team. Endless possibilities. We're seeing a bunch of guys step up.
Let's bring in the head coach to talk about that. Steve Sarkisian rejoins us. Coach A.D. Mitchell with the big first half and that tremendous grab.
Yeah, it really was a good play. You know what? He's been playing well all day. You know, he's had, I don't know, probably 3, 4, 5 catches early in the scrimmage. And sorry, I had to whistle on you there.
Always coaching.
But you know, I think the thing for AD, it's that complementary factor of the fact that, you know, now we've got multiple threats. You have AD, you have Xavier Worthy, you have Jordan Whittington, you have JT Sanders, but that's what you should be able to get when you can isolate those guys one-on-one on a safety and then go up and make plays on the ball.
Coach, when you talk about Jordan Whittington, just describe to the fans what he brings to your offense.
Well, he's really the glue to what we do. You know, he's such a smart player. He can play in the slot. He can play outside. He's a really selfless player. He'll block on the perimeter. He always gets the tough yards, makes really good decisions on third down to extend drives, and then he's an excellent player for us on third down as well.
Coach Jaden Blue averaged about 8 yards per carry in the first half. Of course, had the big touchdown run, 31 yards. What did you make of his performance coming out of the backfield?
Well, he's a really elusive player out of the backfield. He's great with short area quickness, making people miss in tight quarters. You know, the thing that we've been working on with from last year to this year is, one, taking care of the ball. You know, just how important the ball is for him, especially when you're not as big as other guys. And then two, you know, you're not always going to hit those touchdown big runs like that. And so you've got to find ways to, you know, get 4 and 5 dirty yards sometimes and live to fight another day.
Did you see the play on the sideline with Jaden Blue where, I mean, you want the players to not get injured there? Was he just protecting himself? RG3 and I want to know what you thought about that.
Well, I didn't love the pass by Xavier Worthy, first of all, so I'm going to critique him first. Kind of got to put it on that guy there. That's always a tough decision, man. That's the life of being a receiver out of the backfield, a receiver in general. All right, when you got to expose your body and make those tough catches like that.
Now that was an amazing answer, Coach. So I want to give you an opportunity.
First down.
Love it. What are you looking for in this second half of the spring game as the energy starts to wane, the heat is starting to take over? What are you telling the team what you want to see from them in the second half?
Well, I think one is watching them still compete. We got to keep competing. You know, it's going to be hot in September. I can promise you that in DKR. So you got to get used to it. I'd like for the orange team to find a little bit more rhythm. You know, they had one nice drive there. They got kind of stifled in the red area, had to get a field goal. So for them to get a little bit of a rhythm and then, you know, try to get this thing into a one-score game into the fourth quarter, make it competitive.
There's a heck of a run by Savion Red up the middle. Coach, before I let you go, I mean, he seems like he can be a major weapon in a number of positions for you this season.
I kind of lost you there, but I'm going with Savion Red. He's had a really good training camp. You know, or spring ball. He's a guy that was a receiver a year ago that we moved to running back this spring. Seems like more of a natural position for him in general. And then in the end, he still then provides us versatility out of the backfield catching the ball. You know, we've heard a lot of he's built like Deebo Samuel. He's not quite Deebo Samuel yet, but hopefully we can kind of continue to grow his game and develop him into that type of a player.
All right, appreciate it, Coach. Thanks again for joining us.
All righty, guys. Thank you.
You brought up the Deebo Samuel comparison earlier when we talked to him this week. Again, in case you missed it, he spoke with Kyle Shanahan during the offseason about positionless football, the wave of the future in football. And Red certainly fits the bill.
Yeah, appreciate the validation there from Coach Sark on the Deebo Samuel comp. And right now you've seen a couple of like the spring game things. Right there on Savion Red's big run, you had Austin Jordan, the DB, coming off the edge in a green jersey, kind of tapped him up, but they didn't count it as a tackle. Some of these things are a little quirky about the spring game, but it's still good to see Savion Red out in the open field, making plays, giving himself confidence.
Here's a highly talented wide receiver, Jonte Cook, 84 catches his senior year of high school at DeSoto. See Savion Red cooling off on the sidelines, not bad numbers.
Yeah, that's not a bad rushing average at all, but you can just see by his body demeanor there, it's hot. It is very hot down there, and when you have these many fans and the excitement of the game, it kind of can make you get tired a little bit faster.
Pressure coming in by Anthony Hill. Arch stepping out of bounds. You brought up the heat. There were a number of games early on. The Alabama game where the temperature down on the field, at times we were measuring 125, 130. At the time people don't realize how it's just steaming down there.
Yeah, and the thing that makes it steaming, of course, it's the sun, right? But outside of that, it's also the turf.
Yeah.
That little black rubber down there. I don't know if you ever had any workouts in the summertime on the turf, and you put your hands down, and it's like, it's hot. That black turf makes the heat even more unbearable for the players.
Arch in 3rd and long, stepping up. We've seen him run now a few times.
I've seen him run more today than I ever saw Eli or Peyton run in their entire careers in the NFL. So I'm telling you, these guys, they're teaching Arch the right things. Obviously, this coaching staff has come in and helped him. But right here, you go through your progression, 1, 2, 3, get out the pocket, make some moves, and go. That's the one thing that I think Arch will not struggle with at this level. He understands that you have to read with your feet. And when your feet tell you no one's open, you got to go make a play.
Now 4th and 7 for the freshman, Savion Red, beside him in the backfield. Arch officially with 3 carries for 15 yards. Steps up, runs into a teammate, Savion Red, out in the flat. Well, short of the first down.
Yeah, 4th and 7 there. You throw the check down. It all depends on what situation in the game you're in. Right, if that's the last play of the game, I don't think Arch is throwing that check down right there. But because it's not the last play of the game, you live to play another down, you make the smart decision, and you move on.
And you could see the look on his face, disappointed. Again, Sark said he is his own worst critic. He said at times he's too tough on himself, too workmanlike. Sark will joke with him at times throughout practice. Very businessman-like freshman. I mean, at times Sark says too much business. He wants to keep things relaxed because, you know, listen, even if he ends up being the 3rd stringer, everybody's going to be keeping their eye on him until the time he leaves the field.
You know, you're 100% right there about Arch. What the fans at home have to realize is Arch Manning has been a Manning his entire life. There's always been this expectation because of that last name. So I don't think that pressure necessarily gets to him, but he wants to be the greatest. And I think that's why he's his biggest critic. You go out here and you're 3 for 10 for 23 yards, you have 15 rushing yards. That's not the performance that you want to put on, but it's a part of your growing process as a college quarterback.
Ewers off the fingertips of the defender. Okay, so we've seen 1, maybe 2 of those passes that you mentioned look like the Ewers of last year, and a bunch that look like an improved quarterback.
Yeah, here you're just trying to draw the defense in, and Alfred Collins realized, hey man, if they let you go that easily, you're not that good. It's probably a screen. So he gets up and knocks it down, and honestly, all throughout spring ball, Alfred Collins, number 95, has been a guy that has created some buzz. He's making plays, and that tip right there is probably one of them.
Ewers going deep down the near side again, targeting Worthy. Incomplete, no flag on Terrence Brooks.
Let's get our DB talk on here. What you see right there from number 8, Terrence Brooks, that's what they call playing into the offensive player. It's a way to, I call it as an offensive guy, pass interfere without pass interfering. He's running, he can own his own ground. If the ball is too far inside, all you do is you lean on the receiver instead of grabbing and tugging and pulling. That's a great play right there by Terrence Brooks.
He leaned a lot.
He did lean a lot. But he is entitled to his area, and if the receiver's trying to come through him to make the catch, it's not pass interference.
Take a timeout here in Austin. 7.5 to go in the third quarter of the orange and white spring game. Busy day on the 40 acres and a busy night. This is going to be a great one. Great weather. Head on out to the Texas Tennis Center as #1 ranked men's tennis takes on #3 TCU. The top 3 matchups going to determine the conference regular season title as the Horns are looking to capture their 10th Big 12 regular season championship in program history. Head on out there later on tonight. Texas against TCU, and right here on LHN at 7 p.m. Central.
How's your tennis game, Alex?
Awful. And you?
Mine's not bad. You got Malik Murphy back here in the game, taking a shot.
Going deep, has a man, and it's, dropped by DeAndre Moore, the freshman.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Listen, DeAndre Moore, early enrollee freshman. These are the type of moments that you beg for in your first spring game. Wide open down the field. Good chance he's going to catch this and waltz into the end zone. Just got to look it in, man. Got to look it in there. I'm not going to go too heavy on him because I went really hard on Jadon Blue. You know what I mean? But those are the moments that you ask for in these situations.
4-star wide receiver coming out of California. Top 15 rated wide receiver in the nation, according to ESPN. So it's 2nd and 10 again. Murphy heaving it down the field. This time it's caught by Johntay Cook, and he's off to the races. Touchdown. $79 yards for the score.
Oh, my goodness. They didn't have to show the zoom up of Johnson right there who was covering him. But right here, Malik Murphy said, why not try it again? I got some juice in this arm, and Johntay Cook cooked that man in front of everybody hibachi style and ran all the way for the touchdown. I can't say it enough, guys. I'm so excited for this college football season coming up because when Texas football is dominant and explosive on offense, and as a team in general, college football is better. We've seen so many guys make contributions today. Young guys, veteran guys. Johntay Cook right there might have earned himself some more playing time just by that play right there.
We keep repeating it. The coaches tell us Malik Murphy has the best arm of any quarterback on the roster. He said the only problem with him, it's not the arm, it's that sometimes he will trust the arm too much, maybe be a little overconfident, force it. Not there. 79 yards to Johntay Cook.
And watch how easy this is. He didn't even hitch into that throw, throwing it 40 yards down the field, giving his receiver an opportunity to not just catch the ball, but catch and run with it. You got to tip your hat, not just to Johntay Cook, but to Malik Murphy with a highly recruited guy like Arch Manning coming in and accepting that challenge, not transferring out and saying, I'm going to prove that I should be the guy here or the second guy here, however it falls out. He's having a great day today.
Malik Murphy 5 for 7, $135 and a touchdown. And the thing Sark has to like most about it is the deep ball. He said it has to be improved this season. And Malik Murphy, 2 deep balls on the money. One was caught. That one looked like a backwards pass. Worthy recovers it in time.
You know, Alex, you speak about Sark and how he's talked about the quarterback position. I asked him, hey, what do you like about your team right now? He said, we look right. They put 2 years of building this roster together, right? They've been strategic in the portal. They got big athletic guys up front. And his #1 key was at the quarterback position, we have guys that can push the ball down the field. We've seen it from Arch Manning a little bit today. We've seen it certainly from Malik Murphy, and Quinn has shown it time and time again. I'll say it again. This is the most talent Texas has had in the quarterback room ever.
You were stepping up, and they will blow that play dead. Malik Murphy Highly rated coming out of high school, Inglewood, California. Senior season, nearly 3,000 yards passing and 22 touchdowns. There's our own Michael Griffin. He'll be joining us on Texas Game Day Final down on the field.
I think that's my cousin. No, I'm just kidding.
Signing on. Well, I saw you before the broadcast. Everybody's coming up to you, shaking hands, wanted to have you on their podcast, meet and greet. It is like an RG3 meet and greet before the game. Well, I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to get in the booth and get this thing going. Ewers firing one on 3rd and long. Robert, when you talk about your career, because we were talking about Arch, sure the adrenaline is flowing, a little bit nervous, anxious at times. How long did it take you as a freshman to start feeling comfortable, for the game to start slowing down?
I don't think it ever slowed down when I was a freshman, to be quite honest with you. I look at these quarterbacks now, they're doing all the 7-on-7. They got the Elite 8 competitions. They got the personalized quarterback coaches. And they're coming into college really a level above any of the guys that were coming out when I came out, certainly when I was a freshman at Baylor University. So it's not that that's not helping them. The problem is the quarterback position is such a feel thing. So it doesn't matter how many quarterback coaches you have. It doesn't matter how many Elite 11 camps you win or whatever. You have to have a feel for football. And I garnered that feel over the course of my college career. When I came in, I was certainly a scrambler and a runner when I was a freshman. But by the time I was a redshirt junior and we were able to win the Heisman, I was a pocket passer. I was able to throw the ball from the pocket, throw 300, 400 yards in games. And I think that's the kind of progression I would love to see from some of these guys, not just come in as a finished product straight out of high school.
There is Arch completing one.
So when you talk about Arch and him coming in so highly touted, breaking all these records in high school, when you make that transition to college, it's still the same game. It's faster. There's better athletes on the field. But don't get disappointed because of how you start your career. It's how you finish your career that really matters.
It was Quint Merritt there with the reception. They go back to Savion Red. See barreling over a defender. It's a shove there from Anthony Hill.
You bring up Anthony Hill, number 0. This guy, the players have been raving about him. The coaches have been raving about him. And his ability to rush the passer, which we talked about earlier, is a major key and a major focus for this defense. They want to find ways to get Anthony Hill to rush the passer and not just be an off-the-ball linebacker.
That'll be ruled a sack.
And guess what?
Anthony Hill.
Right on cue. Anthony Hill from his middle linebacker position right there. Easy pass rush, just brushes by the running back Savion Red. That's one aspect that we also talked about off air. With running backs, you got to be able to protect. Bijan had that issue earlier in his career, and he buckled down on that and made it his personal mission to be able to protect Quinn and the quarterbacks that he played with over the latter part of his career. Big ups to Tashard Choice for getting him to understand that. Right there, Savion's got to work on that part of his game.
High snap. Shaking off the defender is Red. He brought up Anthony Hill. They talked about him standing out as a pass rusher during the spring, along with Byron Murphy. Last year, during an injury-filled senior season, Anthony Hill forced 5 fumbles in just 6 games. He's a playmaker.
Sometimes the ball just finds certain defenders, and Anthony Hill is a guy who has a nose for the football.
Final minute of play wrapping up here in the 3rd quarter. Murphy with a touchdown pass, Quinn Ewers with 1, and Baxter in blue with touchdown runs.
You know, you think of like some of the great teams over the past decade or so, they always have that one freshman that comes in as a true freshman and just adds a spark to their defense, whether it be at LSU or in Alabama. I feel like Texas has a couple of those guys that can come in on both sides of the ball and do that.
Final seconds of the quarter. Arch to his right. Big hit delivered to break up the pass. Moore a little bit slow getting up.
Well, Alex, I can tell you right now, Ryan Watts, He was all the way charged up on that hit. Arch Manning stares down his receiver and toes him into a mouthful of hurt. Be back after this.
Fourth quarter on the way here in Austin. Plenty of fans on hand and a special guest as well now joining us. Lifetime Longhorn Colt McCoy down on the field. Colt, how you doing?
I'm hot, man.
It seems steaming down there. I mean, Sark mentioned it earlier. Hey, you and RG3 played against each other at one point. Is that correct?
Sounds like it. You know, Robert's reminded me of that.
Yeah, see, Colt doesn't even remember because they were so dominant at that time. He doesn't remember those Baylor games, but we had a game here in the stadium, 20-20 at halftime. I think Mac Brown went it at halftime and told Colt, "What are you doing, man? Stop playing around." They were pissed, came out, beat us 42-20. But nah, man, me and Colt go way back, and it's good to see you, brother.
Hey, thank you, man. You're doing a great job calling all these games, NFL, college, man. Keep it going. Proud of you.
Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate you.
Colt, what stands out to you when you think back to your spring games as a Longhorn?
People were asking me that question up in the box earlier. I just remember spring being so much fun, right? You're building a team. You know, you're spending all these hours with each other in the spring. You know, the students really aren't into it because you're grinding through those 6 weeks. And I remember by the time you get to the spring game, it was fun because you got to get 2 or 3 possessions in, and then you got to let all the walk-ons, the third, the fourth, the fifth stringers who put in the work every single day. They're at all the weight workouts. They're practicing hard. Some of them are like, you know, the tackling dummies, and they all get to go out there and play on Darrell K. Royal field. Like it's a great time. It was all about team, all about camaraderie, and it's kind of the cap of what all the hard work you put in, you know, that offseason.
You know, Cole, one of the marks of the teams, even that you played on, was the explosiveness on offense. And what we've seen today from a bunch of different characters is the ability to push the ball down the field and make big plays. How excited are you to see this Texas team go out and try to win a Big 12 championship and compete for a national title?
Well, I could tell you, just standing on the sidelines, I feel, you know, the energy. The guys look big and strong and fast. I mean, I know Sark, he's aggressive as a play caller, right? He wants to push the ball down the field to guys like Worthy and Sanders. And, you know, I think we have some really good quarterbacks on here on the squad. They all seem to be pushing the ball down. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it, right? I don't think there's a lack of talent here. You know, I think the expectation is definitely the Big 12 championship. And, you know, it's our last year there before we move to the SEC. So I think the excitement is there. And if we can run the ball and maintain that and stay ahead of the chains, you know Sark's going to throw it down the field.
You know, Colt, I've made a statement twice now on the air about these quarterbacks and how I feel like this is the most talented arm talent group that Texas has ever had. And I remember back in the day with you and Jeb and Snead. Can you remember a room that was quite as talented as the one that they have right now?
No. I mean, I was standing next to Malik Murphy a while ago. It was like, he's bigger than Vince Young. Like, this guy is a monster. You know, he threw 2 dimes in a row. It should have been 2 touchdowns. You know, then you have a big recruit like Arch, who I think is obviously just has the pedigree, right? And Quinn did a nice job last year. So I think it's a competitive room. And Sark, you know, if I was coming out of high school, and to have the opportunity to come play at Texas is one thing, but the opportunity to come play in a pro-style system like Sark does is another. And hopefully, you know, the one thing that we just haven't done is win championships, right? That's the goal, and hopefully they can get one done this last year in the Big 12.
Malik Murphy a moment ago with another strike. He's 6 for 8. What would your advice be to these young quarterbacks, whether it's the redshirt freshman Malik Murphy or the true freshman Arch Manning heading into this season?
Yeah, right. That's a great question. I just think as a quarterback, like, this is the time you learn, right? I would just say stay in Coach Sark's hip pocket. Learn the system inside and out. Don't memorize anything. Actually learn the foundation of what we're trying to do, right? Execute the offense, because I know that Sark's going to formation things. He's going to shift in motion things to get the best matchups. And as long as you can complete the pass, execute the offense, like, we're going to move the ball up and down the field. And I think the biggest answer for us as a whole unit, as a school, is like, who's going to replace Bijan, right? He carried us last year. So somebody will step up. It'll be exciting to watch, but I think the quarterbacks are doing a great job.
We appreciate it, Colt. Great seeing you, and try and stay cool down there on the field.
I'm headed back up to the box.
I'm loving that white shirt, by the way.
Hey.
That white shirt is fly.
Poncho, man, get you on. They're the best.
The one and only Colt McCoy joining us here in the final quarter of the spring game. Maalik Murphy, 7 of 9, now 8 of 10.
All right, Alex, we got to call it what it is. Maalik Murphy looks really good.
Absolutely.
He looks phenomenal. He's making the simple plays. He's making the big throws down the field. I think, at the end of the day, this is an open competition for the quarterback spot, whether it be the 1 spot or the 2 spot. Quinn Ewers looks phenomenal. Maalik Murphy has come out and put on a show today. And Arch Manning, you've seen the glimpses of what he can be, and you've seen the mobility. I'm just beyond impressed with what Maalik Murphy has done today to show the fans, hey, don't forget about me.
He's looked great. He's hanging in there in the pocket, finds his receiver. Now 9 of 11. Maalik Murphy.
And the thing you can't discredit right there, 4th and 5. Right, 4th and 5. He's doing everything he can to hold on to the football, to give his receivers an opportunity to get open. And this throw, to be moving in this direction and throw back across the field there, that's what you call arm talent, guys. Most guys, that ball's going in the dirt. Maalik Murphy shows you he's not just a pocket passer, but he has that arm malleability as well.
Completed 5 in a row. And this is a guy who's had some bad luck with injuries coming out of high school. The ankle, had a setback with his foot earlier this spring. But as you said, really standing out in this game. And when you look at Arch, almost unrealistic expectations. I mean, the talk going in, I can't tell you how many people said, well, is Arch going to play? What about Arch? Saying, yeah, but
Personal
he's not
foul,
the starter
face mask, number
heading
93.
into this season.
Defense
Let's
half the
put
distance
things
to the
in
goal.
perspective.
First down.
And that's not to down Arch at all. Listen, the excitement that is around Arch Manning is all warranted. But when you're a freshman coming in and you're supposed to still be in high school, and now you're playing up against what you could deem as grown men, there's probably some 23, 24, 25-year-old men out here playing. There's going to be a transition period. Arch will be much better come fall camp than he is right now, that he was in the spring and has been in this game.
Well, and it was the same thing for Quinn Ewers last year. The expectations when he really hadn't played any college football with Ohio State, didn't throw a pass, and Steve Sarkisian told us it's 1st and goal for Murphy. Hands it off. No, play action fake. And out of the hands of the receiver. Sark told us, listen, that Alabama game for Quinn Ewers, it set expectations that were probably too high too early on in the season for him.
Correct. We talked about this earlier. Quinn has not really played that much college football. So when you go out and you play that well against the greatest team and the greatest coach that a lot of people feel that there is in Nick Saban, the hype is going to come with that. But I love the way that Quinn has managed this spring. Come out, make the easy plays, look comfortable out here. And we have all different sides of this. Oh, my goodness. Did he just try to double pass that?
Well, he does everything else. He's played wide receiver, running back, and now attempting a pass intended for Gunnar Helm.
I don't think I've ever seen a double pass try to get completed while 3 guys are trying to tackle you. Savion Red, he has unbelievable confidence in his arm, and he did play.
He played quarterback in high school.
So, but as I was saying, with the spectrum right now, you have the massive expectations for Quinn Ewers after how he played early in the year. He's managed that now. You have the astronomical expectations for Arch Manning that are going to always be there, and for Maalik Murphy, unless you knew him and were rooting for him, that some people might have forgotten about him, and he's managed that as well.
Murphy going to take off and run with it. When you talk about Ewers, Quinn Ewers hasn't played a full 10-game season. Talking about all 4 quarters in a game since its sophomore year of high school, 2019.
Wow.
Looking healthy in this game, and Ewers 16 of 23, 195 yards through the air, and a touchdown as well. And obviously coming off the injury last year, didn't finish the way he wanted to, but in the bowl game did set a Texas freshman record with 369 passing yards, completing nearly 70% those passes. Murphy into the end zone.
Wow.
On 4th and goal, unable to hang on to it. Gunnar Helm.
You'll see right here, Maalik Murphy goes through his progression. Right to left, right down the middle of the field. Maybe that ball could have been more chest level so the defender couldn't come through in arm fight with Gunnar Helm there. But when you watch that back, man, did he throw a rifle. This guy has an unbelievably strong arm. A couple drops there that you saw from some of the receivers will affect his numbers. But I don't think you could have asked for a better spring game from Maalik Murphy if you were somebody that was rooting for him, his family, himself. He's come out, he's put his best foot forward today, and he should be very excited about the way he's playing.
It's been a long time coming for him, trying to get healthy. 9 of 13 today, 166 yards through the air and a touchdown. Charles Wright now takes over with a handoff out of his own end zone. Stacked up and dropped was C.J. Baxter.
This guy right here, Charles Wright, 8,000 passing yards, 80 touchdowns in high school. Guys, I didn't throw for 8,000 yards in high school, okay? And I dang sure didn't throw for 80 touchdowns. So you're talking about the depth.
I feel like in college you did those.
Yeah, okay, that's a different story. But talk about the depth that Texas has at this position. It's an embarrassment of riches, and I think that's a good thing for Longhorn Nation. I think it's a good thing for this team because no matter what quarterback steps out there, you got to be on your P's and Q's if you're the defense.
Charles Wright gonna head out for a second. C.J. Baxter, a little bit gimpy here. He will hobble off the field. Again, Steve Sarkisian said the goal is to play clean football, injury-free, not many penalties. See who steps up as playmakers. When you talk about the playmakers in this game, is Jaden Blue back in there? He had a big run earlier. Who stood out to you?
Oh, man, it's got to be A.D. Mitchell.
Yeah.
The one-handed catch, the simple throws and catches that he was making, whether it's the 9-stop or the slant, you see the size out there. That's been the most impressive. I thought Jonte Cook's ability to not just catch the ball, but then show off the speed to finish to the end zone was also very impressive. And then we've got Jaden Blue, who probably had the best run of the day and the most questionable non-catch of the day, all in the same 10-minute span.
According to Sark, it was not his fault.
And that's what he said.
An off-target throw by Worthy.
And I respect that from Sark because you know what? Next time Jaden Blue gets an opportunity to make that catch, he's going to make it because his coach didn't throw him under the bus.
Okay, this is the last thing you want to see now. In the last few minutes.
2 backs.
C.J. Baxter and Jaden Blue. I wonder if it's cramping a little bit. It is hot out there.
At the end of the day, you do hope it's cramping. We'd never want to see any guys go down injured, especially this late into a spring game.
Blue and Baxter, the most carries for either squad today. Jaden Blue with 10, 52 yards, and C.J. Baxter, 11 carries for 28.
And you can't forget about Jonathan Brooks or Keelan Robinson. These guys have been limited all spring. When they come back out in fall camp and getting ready for the season, this running back room is going to be that much more explosive.
Big hit delivered there by B.J. Allen. Yeah, you mentioned Jonathan Brooks. They said he's almost at 100%. Really, in the last 5 practices, is looking like his old self, but he has not played today. And Keelan Robinson sitting this one out as well. As far as the receivers, mentioned Isaiah Nayor, still recovering from that torn ACL and missing this game as well. Charles Wright, A.D. Mitchell. 5 catches now for the Georgia transfer, Mitchell.
Yeah, you can tell that Sark and Kyle Flood love A.D. Mitchell. They're constantly featuring him in these play calls, giving him these easy catches. Just imagine what this offense is going to look like when you have A.D. Mitchell and you have Nayor and Jordan Whittington, Xavier Worthy. I mean, they're 4-5 deep, and they still got a bunch of young guys that are going to be making plays for them as well.
Right, with a man in his face, somehow got that off to who else? Mitchell.
A.D. Mitchell's just a guy that you say, he's always open. All right, watch our guy right here, Charles Wright, make the throw with the guy in his face. It's a little bit behind A.D. Mitchell, but because he's such a big body guy, he just has easy body control. Flips his hips, make the catch. DB never had a chance.
That was Ethan Burke, the 6'6" sophomore, with the pressure. Right, even it downfield. Past his intended target, Xavier Worthy, who's still in there.
Yeah, how about some of the top guys on this offense playing the full extension of the game? Whether it's Arch playing, Malik Murphy, Quinn, you got Charles Wright. I mean, we even had our main man, Joe Tatum, wearing number 25, get out there and make a throw. And trust me, if you're wearing 25 at quarterback, you're pretty far down the depth chart. But he's still got an opportunity to go out there and make a play.
JT Sanders there, you can see lining up. Final 3.5 of the spring game. There's the handoff to Colin Page. The Austin native, the sophomore, played at Anderson High.
And when we talked to Colt McCoy just a few minutes ago, he talked about how this is a game where the guys, whether they're walk-ons or scholarship guys that haven't really had an opportunity to play, they get a chance to show what they can do and possibly make a name for themselves, if anything, amongst the fan base, but the coaches as well, to say, hey, if we absolutely have to play this guy, he can make plays too.
Ooh. Right. Escapability. Tiptoeing down the sidelines. Well, the fans came to see, as you put it, highlight plays, big plays. We've seen a few of those. Jonte Cook, the 79-yard grab. Jaden Blue with the 31-yard touchdown run. A.D. Mitchell with a one-handed catch in the end zone as well.
Yeah, it just depends on what you like, okay? Do you want to see your defense getting carved up like that? Or do you want to see your offense making explosive plays? Because Texas is playing against Texas. So at the end of the day, a coach like Sark has to take the ebb and flow of offensive making so many plays and the defense giving up some.
As far as the quarterbacks, Quinn Ewers, his day looks to be done. 16 of 23, 195 yards, a touchdown. Finding Xavier Worthy. You were disappointed he didn't stay in bounds.
Yeah, but we saw these spectacular plays. That was more of a spectacular play by A.D. Mitchell. But at the same time, Arch Manning showing off some of the mobility is what we saw mostly from him today.
Yeah, throwing the ball, Arch 5 of 13, but I think you're right. His most impressive trait was running.
Yeah, his most impressive thing he did all day was getting through his progressions and then running. He didn't look to number 1 and then pull the ball down and try to make a play. He went 1 to 2 to 3, maybe sometimes to 4, and then got out of the pocket and go. For Quinn, what I love most is we've seen those big explosive plays from him last year, but we saw the simple plays today, the check down throws, the getting through his progressions and making the easy throws. You saw the screens that Sark called up for him to get the ball out of his hands to the receivers quickly so they can make plays. That, to me, shows growth from Quinn Ewers.
And they said 12 out of the 14 spring practices, he was absolutely fantastic. That, according to his head coach, Steve Sarkisian. Arch Manning rotating the final few plays at quarterback with Cole Lord. And they'll call that one a sack.
Man.
Austin Jordan, the sophomore, in there.
It's a learning curve when you come to college football, especially as a high school guy, essentially. The rush is going to get to you faster. This is an all-star team of all the best teams in your district. And sometimes getting up to speed with that can take a little bit of time. And I think Arch is dealing with a little bit of that right now. But if I was him, I would not be discouraged by what is going on the field right now.
Stepping up in the pocket, and be ruled another sack. And Vernon Broughton there. Played in 12 games last year. Well, again, Texas, and it's tough, as we mentioned, to see in the spring game or in practice, because technically you're not allowed to sack the quarterback. They want to see improvements in that category. Only 16% of their quarterback pressures resulted in a sack last year. Sark has made that an emphasis on defense in the spring, and on offense, the emphasis improving the deep ball, which we've seen today.
Yeah, we have seen that. So it's hard to judge sacks in a spring game, as we talked about, with not allowed to really get after the quarterback and tackle him to the ground or really even touch him. But you have to be encouraged from what you've seen.
Pocket just collapsing again on the freshman.
Arch did a really nice job early in the game of when things broke down for him, trying to get out of the pocket and throw the ball away, like not really worried about what the stats say. And I think that's a good thing. As the sacks start to mount up, if he's realizing, hey, my offensive line isn't really getting the job done up front, he might have to now speed up his own clock in the middle of the game.
Let's take a look now at our player spotlight, brought to you by Texas One Fun. Quinn Ewers, 16 of 23. For the most part, did look improved from a season ago. Arch freshman, 5 of 13, 30 yards, couple scrambles as well. And Malik Murphy, tremendous, 9 of 13, 165 and a touchdown. Had the huge bomb to Jonte Cook. Had another one that was dropped, and he really has been one of the highlights today.
Yeah, I think Malik Murphy has been the highlight of today's game. You talk about his ability to not just push the ball down the field, to not just make the simple plays, but when he was in at quarterback, the offense just moved down the field. And I think that's something that can never be undervalued from the quarterback position. And I'm saying that while also understanding that Quinn Ewers certainly looks like the guy after you look at this game. But Malik Murphy made a big impression on me today, and I'm more than sure he made a big impression on this coaching staff.
Well, listen, and certainly you're not trying to jinx anything, but if you go based off injury history, Quinn missed a handful of games with an injury last year. His last full season before that, junior year of high school, was injured as well with a sports hernia. So the backup role, obviously, extremely important. Oh, the fake handoff by Joe Tatum. Sophomore from Los Angeles.
Listen, I think Joe Tatum heard what I said earlier about him wearing number 25.
How about that?
He said, you know what, Robert? I'm going to show you what I can do right here with a little zone read action. Look at him confusing the cameraman and everybody. Getting out there, rolling. I wish he would have gotten the end zone. That would have been incredible.
The defenders just stop there as it's blown dead. Nobody's trying to get hurt in the final few seconds of this one. See if they get one more play off.
But Alex, this is Joe Tatum time.
This is,
okay?
This is his one shining moment, and that will do it for the orange and white spring game. The white squad led by Quinn Ewers takes it 21-10. RG3, your final thoughts on this one?
I mean this, and I'm not just saying this because we're on Longhorn Network. I think the Big 12, Texas is back when it comes to their ability to go out and get explosive plays, their ability to play what looked like to me some pretty decent defense for the majority of the day. I don't want to make any